first grade. I miss you guys. I hope you're having good weeks, and I hope you're working hard and staying safe and healthy. We are just going to do some more phonics together really quickly. So today we are going to talk about how when you are reading, you can look at a word, well, part of a word, which is the pattern, to read it. And you can make new words by pulling or putting a letter or a couple of letters in front of that pattern. So let's look at what I mean. So we have a few columns of words here that we're going to look at. So in this first column, we have dad, had, bad, mad, and glad, right? So I don't know if you see, all of these words have something in common. Well, all of their first letters are different, so I don't think it's that. Let's look at this. All of these words end in an AD, right? Can you see how those are underlined? So dad, had, bad, mad, and glad all end with add, right? That AD. So we know if we had an AD, what's something else we can put in front of it? We could put an S in front of it, right? If we put an S in front of it, what would that be? Sad, right? We could say sad. That would also fit into that pattern, right? Let's look at this column. So this column we have sip, taking a sip of a drink. We have hip, like a part of your body. We have lip. We have tip, like when you go to a restaurant and you want to give your waiter or waitress a tip, some extra money. We also have trip, like what happens when you fall over something. And so if we look at these words, like in the first column, most of them have a different first letter, right? So the beginning sound is different, but they all have the same pattern at the end, right? All of these words end in ip, okay? So these all ended in add, and these end in ip. So let's think of another word we could add to this column. We could put an R in front of the ip and make it rip, like if you rip a piece of paper. That could fit in that column. See, we're just putting a different letter in front of that pattern to make a new word, right? So let's look at this third column here. We have cap, like a baseball cap. We have sap, the stuff inside of a tree that's sticky. We have tap, if I tap you on your shoulder. We have rap, like some of you guys like to listen to rap music. And we have clap, clap, okay? And so the same thing with all of these, like we talked about with these two columns. These all have the same pattern at the end, right? All of these words end in AP, which makes app, right? All of these words end in AP. So if we put another letter in front of the app pattern, well, let me think. I don't know. I can't really think of another one off the top of my head. Oh, what about this one? If we put an M in front of that app pattern, it would give us map, right? So that's another example. And let's look at this column, okay? So in this column, we have net, like you need a net to catch butterflies. We have met. I've never met you before. I'm Miss Katie. We have pet. I got my pet dog right here. Can't see him. Let. I can't wait for us to be let outside again. I don't know. And we have get, right? And so just like in our other columns, we can see that these words share an ending pattern, right? The ending pattern is et or et, okay? So let me underline these just like I did for the other ones because I think that makes it a little bit easier to see our pattern. So we have that ET pattern at the end of all of these words, right? Whoop. net, met, pet, let, and get. And just like with my other ones, I want to make a brand new word using that pattern. So what if I put a V in front of it? V is in Valentine. V-E-T is going to be vet, right? Like animal doctors. So that is just how we know when we look for a pattern of a word, it makes it easier to read. Like maybe if you had the word SAD, you might not know that word, but you could look at the ending of it and say, okay, that's ad. So maybe sad, right? So we can use these patterns to help us read and make new words, okay? So I, really quickly, am going to erase these columns I worked so hard on. And I'm going to talk to you about what our activity is going to be. So I am going to send you guys a website that has magnetic letters like we use at school when we have the little blocks of letters, right? And we use them to make words together. So I'm going to send you guys a website that does the same thing. But this website is going to have all of the letters of the alphabet, okay? I don't want you to use every letter. I want you to use these letters in particular. So we're going to use E, G, what else? L, M, N, P, S, and T. Okay? And I'll show you this. And I will also write it down because that's hard to remember. So we're going to use E, G, L, M, N, P, S, and T. And I want you to make some words that end in that ET pattern that we talked about. So like if I had these words or these letters and I wanted to make a word that ends with that ET pattern, okay, so I could maybe say, okay, well there's a P. I'll use my P and do P, E, T. Right? And I would pretend that these are my magnetic letters and I would make the word pet because it uses that ET pattern that we just talked about. So all I want you guys to do is just practice building words that end with ET using your magnetic letters. If you have another letter that you want to use to make a word that ends with ET, that's fine. But I want you guys to use the magnetic letters to practice this, okay? And so that's all I have for you guys today. We have a little long weekend because of Easter, so I hope you guys have a great long weekend, and I hope you stay safe and stay healthy, and I love you, and I will talk to you soon.